it's been great.
Did you get starstruck ever? Was there ever a moment where did you meet Brian Lara?
Yeah, of course I met Brian. I mean, I played with him before and stuff, so, but not really starstruck. I mean, when you're in that environment, you realize
you're one of them. So
not really. I wouldn't say you're just a cricketer at the end of the day. It's not like you're doing anything
different.
Life. I mean, you're not changing the world or anything. You're just playing a game you've always played since a little boy. So and same with all the legends that play these days. So. I don't think it's a case of being starstruck. It's just an appreciation of your skill levels and you just doing something that I love, and that's what we have in common.
And when people look at you as like a superstar in cricket, a role model, an icon, what do you say to them, and how does that make you feel?
No, I think I try and make them understand that it's, I'm just fortunate to be able to represent South Africa, and there's a lot of people that represent South Africa in various sports, not only cricket and rugby and football. So, we need to understand that they also, people to look up to in this country, because they also work hard to get to where they want to be. And I think I just try and make people understand that it's just a game, and we're all normal, and we're all normal South Africans trying to play our part in South Africa. And to me, you're just fortunate that you've played it on television and seen the world, and that's been great. But I just try and make especially young kids realize that they can also do it in whatever they want to do.
And tell me about, obviously you were all-rounder, you bowled and batted. A moment that sticks out for you that you go, wow, this is a moment that I will never forget. I'm sure that there are many, but one that kind of, stands out for you?
I think playing against India in the World Cup, I mean, they were undefeated going into the World Cup, and we were the only team that beat them in the 2011 World Cup. And I remember the game was getting quite tight at one point, and I had to go bat, and all the guys were sort of on edge, and I was just like, let's chill, let's relax. It was my character, and I just managed to hit the winning runs in the last over, and we needed 16 in the last over, and we did it with like 2 balls to spare. So that's something that really sticks out to me. It's you're playing against Tendulkars and the Yuvrajas, and we're just smashing them in a World Cup game, and they end up winning the tournament. So I mean, it was that close for us to win the tournament.
That's hectic. I remember that. I think I remember that actually. Yeah. And tell me about you loved India so much that you went and played in the IPL. How was that?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to play for Mumbai Indians for 2 years. It's a great experience.
They were a good team, right?
Yeah, they were a good team. We made the semi-finals and finals, and we just didn't manage to win it the years I was there. But it was great. You're playing with Sachins, Harbajans, Kieran Pollard's, players from all over the world. So it's a great experience, and just to see the hype around the game in India, it's really something to behold. If anyone wants to go and watch cricket, I definitely recommend going to IPL cricket and going to see what the passion about the game is all about there, really. So it was a real eye-opener.
And growing up in South Africa, of course, PE and Cape Town, looking at the hardships, the challenges that we faced here, traveling to places like Sri Lanka, India, I'm sure you saw things there that kind of similarities. I mean, tell us about some of those experiences over there.
Yeah, I think the similarities between South Africa and places like Sri Lanka, obviously, or India, is this mass poverty there.
Yeah.
It's just something we also have here. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not foreign to us when we go there. And I think it might be a little bit different if you're from England or Australia and those places. Or New Zealand might affect you a little bit more. But for us, it was, we accustomed to seeing, that disparity, which is, it's something obviously we're trying to get rid of in South Africa. But so it's a great eye-opener. But the one thing that stands out to me is the people are still happy in those countries.
Yeah.
They still look a lot happier than some people in England, and so for me that was massive. It's just to see how happy and the joy in people's faces when it comes to sport and seeing international team.
Did you play? Have you ever played at Lords?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to play at Lords a few times. The one thing that stands out at Lords are definitely the lunches.
Oh, really?
Second to none. So
they have a banquet or what?
No, they've got their own restaurant for players, basically.
Wow.
So you come in, they've got it on board, you just order exactly what you want.
Really?
And, from fish, I don't even know. It's just massive. I know all the players, that's the one thing they always talk about, the lunches at Lords.
Now, talking about food, going to Sri Lanka, going to India and places like that, tell me about, I'm sure that there's things that happen behind the scenes with the players, try this or do that or whatever. Have you ever had to try any interesting stuff while on tour?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of touring, eh? You gotta try the different cultures, especially in Asia, where, you know, they got a wide variety of different foods. So, I mean, that's something, that was one of my favorite things ever.
Oh, really?
Is to go and like eat like different foods in India. Sri Lanka is probably one of my favorites when it comes to food, and, you know, sampled a few things, even tried to make it in South Africa, didn't quite work out, but you know, obviously it takes time and practice to get it right. But yeah, it's no, food is one of the big things, and you can get a variety of food. You can get Western food, the local food. So food is fantastic in Asia. You know, it really, really is.
And tell me about some of the things that happen behind closed doors, in those change rooms, in those dressing rooms. Some of the comedians or people that try to be funny in the team. Tell us about some of those moments and some of the things that have happened behind closed doors. I'm sure there's lots of stories, right?
It's a hard one. There's
one that you can mention.
I can just tell you who's the funniest guys I've ever played with. I think it's Morne Morkel, by far the funniest guy I've ever played with. You know, he's always pulling pranks and just doing funny things just to lift the spirits, and when things aren't going too great, you know, you can always turn to him on the field or in a team meeting when might be Graham, you know, stressing points, and Morne would just put his hand up and just say something hilarious to break the ice and relax everyone. So yeah, and I mean, guys that are, I mean, believe it or not, the most absent-minded person I think I've come across is Amy de Villiers. Is always leaving things and forgetting things everywhere, and guitars at airports, and, you know, passports at hotels. So
did he sing when he was there on tour?
Yeah, he'd play, but you know, it's something we really enjoyed, having a few drinks as a group, and you know, sitting in someone's room and playing a bit of music when we didn't have anything on, like, for a few days. And you know, there's been some special moments, you know, just outside of cricket, getting to understand what these guys are about outside of cricket. Yeah. You know, sometimes you can forget that because you're so absorbed in that industry that you forget that people are actually human beings. And
do you have a roommate, or how does it work on tour?
We don't get roommates. We all get our separate rooms.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's quite nice, and you can just have the remote control to yourself, and you don't have to bother with someone else. You're getting into your ear trying to change the channel from football, so it's been good.
And is there any strict like rules when you're on tour that you can't obviously go out and drink the night before, you can't eat certain things, or are they quite strict when it comes to that, or are they fairly normal?
I think that South Africa really allows players to manage themselves, and the team sort of runs their discipline. So you know, if you can't do certain things before a game, you'll be letting the guy down next to you at the end of the day.
And you
don't want to put a teammate in that position to go and say, listen, well, you know, this is not the right what you're doing. You don't want to put him in that position. So I think the team sort of manages itself. They're mature enough to know exactly what's required, and it's been a process that has grown over the years. You know, so they're very self-reliant on enforcing their own discipline, from sleep times to diets to everything. You know, so it's definitely a very mature space to be in.
And tell us about some of the training schedules when you're on tour. I mean, normal schedule. Run us through a week of what you guys actually do. How the schedule is for South Africa. I mean, do you train every day? Is it gym? Is it practice here, or how does it work?
Yeah, I think generally your practice is your number one. The skill levels. You know, that'll take a few hours depending on, like, I know, say it's 3 days before a test match. The first 2 days of that will be extremely hard sessions. You know, you'd really nail it down in terms of what you're trying to do as a team, as an individual.
Well, they drill you, eh?
I mean, you drill that properly.
Really?
Yeah, so quite time consuming the first 2 days, and then you get into and then after the practice, whoever needs to do conditioning or a little bit of physio treatment and just manage the bodies and whatever, and team meetings and video analysis sessions.
So you do that? You watch?
You do all of that, you know.
Okay.
And each player takes responsibility for his own game, so that's been cool. And then the day before test match, the day before test match, you just be relatively whatever you want to do. So.
Okay.